Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is my first presentation at Unite, and I'm really thrilled to be here to talk to you about self-publishing on PlayStation. For anybody that doesn't know me, my name is Guy Richards, and I'm part of the third-party relations group at Sony, where I manage PlayStation VR from a publisher and developer relations perspective. Over the last 5 years, I've helped developers from all over the world to publish their games on PlayStation 3, Vita, and PlayStation 4. Today's talk will provide an overview on PlayStation platforms and the various publishing routes available to developers. I will talk about our approach to self-publishing and how we support our partners. And finally, I will share information on how to get started with PlayStation. I hope it will be useful for any developers out there considering PlayStation as a platform or any current partners in the audience. But first, a quick trip down memory lane. Independent developer support has always been part of PlayStation's DNA. In 1994, Sony launched the PlayStation 1 and then followed up with the incredibly successful PlayStation 2. This era was centered around box product distribution and the complexities that went along with it. While suitable for a AAA community, physical distribution was a barrier too big for creating a widespread independent developer scene. In 1997, Sony launched the NetYeroze that allowed a generation of young, passionate developers to create content for PlayStation 1 and get their games distributed on CD via the official PlayStation magazine. In 2002, Sony followed up with the PS2 Linux, which allowed people to access homebrew development on the PlayStation 2 console. With the launch of PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable, Sony finally entered the digital world. The launch of the PlayStation Network and PlayStation Store meant that box distribution was no longer the only valid option for developers. This change allowed smaller companies the opportunity to start self-publishing games on the PlayStation platforms. Other initiatives, such as Minis, further lowered the barrier of entry for self-publishing. In fact, many studios who started their PlayStation journey on Minis have moved on to release native games for PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, and soon, PlayStation VR. PlayStation 4 was the first platform launch to have a widespread community of independent developers from the get-go. We had titles that were heavily championed by Sony, driving platform differentiation during our launch program, as encompassed by the PlayStation Loves Indies campaign. We recently announced a worldwide install base of 40 million PlayStation 4s across 124 countries and regions worldwide. An amazing number of console sales to date, and we've seen tremendous growth in the digital space, with over 300 titles published on the PlayStation Store, truly making PlayStation 4 a thriving digital platform. These games have been developed by over 190 different developers, with 120 of them publishing on PlayStation for the very first time. Developers and publishers with games that have been published come from over 40 different countries within the European region that we manage, which really shows how widespread our community is. As a developer, there are different routes to market that you can consider in order to get your game on the platform, and these fall under two main categories: first-party and third-party. First-party games are published by Sony, and within first-party, we have what is referred to as worldwide studios, where Sony owns the studio. And then there's also the XDev route, a route which independent developers may be more suited for. This is where Sony publishes and owns the game, but does not own the studio. The third-party relations group manage all games that are published by external publishers or by self-publishing developers. We offer platform support through our strategic content acquisition team, which help to bring highly innovative games to the platform that might not be able to come otherwise. We understand that for a lot of independent developers, publishing on PlayStation will be a new challenge, and it's the role of the third-party relations team to help. The third-party relations team sets out to develop meaningful partnerships with publishers and developers. We do this through driving platform adoption and supporting strategic initiatives for the company, such as PlayStation VR or new features on the PS4 console itself. We manage the registration and onboarding process for new developers, getting them up to speed with the PlayStation way and ready to start creating content. Together with colleagues in dev support, we provide technical support throughout the game development process via our website DevNet. Games are published through our portal called TPRNet, and the third-party relations team will support you through the submission process. We will work with marketing or store colleagues to maximize the commercial value of your game for both Sony and the developer in a win-win way. Today, I'd like to talk about 4 areas that our team focuses on when helping independents to publish their game. Commercial opportunities, our partner relationships, how we're making things easier, and how our platform remains innovative. When you register as a PlayStation licensee, you will sign a global developer and publisher agreement. The nature of this contract means any developer can also publish on PlayStation. As such, we treat every publisher the same, be it a bedroom coder or a AAA studio, and everybody in the middle. This gives you control over the release date, your pricing, your promotions, and access to sales data. However, within the third-party relations group, we have a commercial management team. They'll be there to provide support, so you're not alone when making some of these key decisions. There are some additional commercial opportunities for developers to consider, such as ESD, disc distribution, or PlayStation Plus. There are many companies out there, Sold Out Sales or Stodesco to name a few, who are specializing in taking independent games to retail on disc, and we're starting to see a lot of business there. Alternatively, we have ESD, which stands for Electronic Software Distribution. It is an initiative to distribute digital codes at retail. Some of you may have seen our branded game cards at participating retailers or e-commerce websites. Being digital only can lead to missed sales, and ESD provides a low-cost solution for reaching a new audience of your game, especially when targeting impulse buy price points during the holiday periods. PlayStation Plus is a huge part of the PS4 strategy. Plus gamers are highly engaged, high-spending players, exactly the type of audience you want to reach with your game. And there are 3 things to consider here. PlayStation 4 players need a Plus membership to play online multiplayer. So if you have an online game, you can be sure that the players playing your game are also Plus members. Perhaps you can consider an open beta weekend for the Plus community to help generate awareness of your title before your game launches. We have our monthly games initiative, where we're giving away titles each month for free to the Plus community. February was a very exciting month as we started our Vote to Play initiative, and in fact, all 3 games launching in February, or as part of the voting system in February, were built using Unity. Action Henk, Assault Android Cactus, and Broforce, which eventually went on to win it. As a new studio, having a large number of players play your game from the get-go gives you a great platform to build from. We often recommend that developers making monthly games consider DLC or add-on content, or support user engagement features to make the most of this audience. A PlayStation Plus discount can be applied to your game or DLC at launch, during the life cycle, or as an extra benefit during a promotion. This means your title will additionally be featured in the PlayStation Plus section of the PlayStation Store. You can potentially be included in other marketing activities, such as blog posts or newsletters, if we work with enough lead time. If you don't want to discount your game for Plus members, perhaps you could consider giving away a PlayStation 4 static or dynamic theme as a way to engage and raise awareness of your title with this audience. When partnering with some of our hero titles, which offer a significant PlayStation difference, we can unlock more of the PlayStation-owned channels to help amplify your marketing efforts. These include a wide range of events, social media, product or editorial pages on PlayStation.com, eCRM newsletters, dashboard placement on the PS4 console itself, or inclusion in retail demo kiosks. So I wanted to share a quick example of an activity we ran with a Unity developer this weekend. Headmaster is a PlayStation VR exclusive game being developed by a team of 3 people in the US. If you haven't tried it, it's an accessible and fun football game in VR designed around heading balls at increasingly difficult targets with lots of comedic value. In collaboration with Adidas and UEFA, as part of our PlayStation FC Football Club initiative, we took Headmaster to Milan for the Champions League final. The game was played by hundreds of football fans in the center of Milan and outside the game itself. And tickets to the game, along with other merchandise, were given away to the highest and highest scorers on the leaderboard. With this activity, we were able to reach a type of audience that our partner would not be able to reach otherwise. We reinforced the activity with online content across our Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook channels. This is an example of how PlayStation can add extra value and amplification to our partner games when the right opportunities arise for the right product. The second area I wanted to cover is how we're making things easier, listening to our partners to improve our internal processes throughout your game's lifecycle. We're working very hard in this area, but unfortunately, things don't change overnight. I'm going to highlight a couple of the changes that I'm able to talk about here today, but rest assured there are many going on in the background. Last year, we launched PlayStation Partners, an online click-through agreement automating a previously manual registration process. We've improved our communication tools for developers, making full use of our ticketing system that enables us to track queries, assign them to the relevant specialists within our business for quicker responses, moving away from the days of the black hole Lotus Notes inbox. In recent years, our QA times have been reduced. This has been essential for supporting new business models such as free-to-play or games as a service. We now publish content on 5 days a week on the PlayStation Store, and we've seen increased promotional activity in order to support the steady flow of content releases. We understand the importance of personal, friendly, and trustful relationships with our developer partners, and we welcome developers to visit our London office for meetings or an informal coffee. In fact, I've yet to see the Italian and Spanish contingent of our team turn down a free coffee. If you're not local to London, then we make efforts to attend events like this, where we can meet you face-to-face. In collaboration with our dev support team, which our colleagues are also here today and running our booth outside, we run events for the PlayStation developer community. These include on-site or remotely delivered training, workshops which bring together subject matter experts to focus on technical or QA issues. We host webinars, and we have DevStation, our flagship technical conference for the European developer community. For those who can't make the event themselves, the events are live streamed and put on our developer partner website, DevNet. The fourth topic I wanted to cover is how PlayStation innovates in order to create opportunities for our developers. User engagement and PlayStation VR are two very exciting but two very different initiatives that I'd like to cover. User engagement is a big focus for us on PlayStation 4, and it should be for you too. Here's why. Planning your game around 3 core features can have a significant commercial and consumer engagement benefit to your title. The 3 core features that you should focus on are verified accounts, LIVEAREA, and events, all of which allow you as a developer to have direct engagement with players, allow you to target different players with dynamic content, and more importantly, they're free to use and within your control. The verified accounts are authenticated PlayStation Network accounts which boost the visibility of key game developers, publishers, players, or IP on the PlayStation 4 console itself. The accounts connect directly with all PlayStation 4 players and can be used to share game activities to the PlayStation 4 newsfeed, such as challenges which can help you to engage with the community, drive awareness of new games, demos, betas, or DLC content, share screenshots or videos, or post custom content or link to the PlayStation Store itself. LIVEAREA is seen by all owners of your game. Think of LIVEAREA as a dynamic shop window for promoting your game content. It's accessed by the PlayStation 4 home menu when your application is highlighted. And LIVEAREA is available for all full games, betas, and demos. It can be used to promote new content or DLC to owners of your game, which can link through to the PlayStation Store page. You can see here that Oddworld is doing this with their Alf's Escape DLC. It can be used to promote new experiences or new events, such as double XP weekends or in-game sales. And we've seen it used to promote global and local leaderboards for the new game modes that you're releasing. It's possible to use a live tile to boot an application at your dedicated event or mode within the app. GTA does this for players who want to jump straight into their online game mode. It's even possible to cross-promote titles under the same publisher ID, as our friends at Bossa have shown, promoting Surgeon Simulator from the Iron Bread page and Iron Bread from the Surgeon Simulator page. The event app on PlayStation 4 lets you publish dedicated pages to the PS4 designed to promote event information for your game. Players are able to register in advance, receive reminders when events start, and choose to have the PlayStation 4 automatically boot when the event begins. These types of activities drive player awareness, player engagement, and player retention. Come find us at our booth if you'd like to learn more about how to get started using these features within your game. With PlayStation VR, we're pushing the boundaries of play. Launching October this year, PlayStation VR is completely integrated with the PlayStation 4. This means an addressable audience of 40 million players with a VR-ready console out there. PlayStation VR can take advantage of user engagement features that I just mentioned, as well as benefiting from full integration with the PlayStation Store and network features, for example, online play and party. Using the already released PlayStation camera, we can track the DualShock 4 via the light bar on the front of the controller, as well as the PlayStation Move for more interactive gameplay. Sony leverages its heritage in optics, audio, controller tracking, and hardware design to create a stylish and comfortable VR solution. The headset itself also accommodates glasses wearers. It's this focus on accessibility that drives our plug-in and play approach, making PlayStation VR the perfect VR device for the living room gamer. Earlier at GDC this year, we announced over 230 developers are working on PlayStation VR, the highest number of developers supporting a PlayStation hardware launch to date. We're tracking 160 products from first and third-party developers, representing a wide range of full games, add-ons, and across a wide spectrum of genres. PlayStation VR content can be played either only in VR mode, or it can be VR compatible, as in the same game can be played both with or without the headset. So I wanted to talk about one of the developers that we've been working with over the last couple of years. Our friends at MIXEDBAG Games are a great example of how a startup developer can use Unity to target multiple PlayStation platforms. They're a small but growing team in Italy, and in 2014 they released FUTURIDIUM as a PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita cross-buy title. Later in the life cycle, the game went into PlayStation Plus as a monthly game. And last month, working with limited edition publishing, they managed to release a boxed product version for both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita. The game will also be coming to PlayStation VR 2, and we actually had it running here last year on our PlayStation VR headsets for people to try at the event. A unique feature of PlayStation VR is our social screen output for the TV. Social is an important pillar of PS4, and this feature allows friends and family in the living room to share and join in with your VR experience. Developers can choose to use the TV screen in two ways. First, developers can choose to output the same image to both the VR headset and the TV, which makes it clear for everybody else in the room to understand what the VR player is experiencing. Secondly, developers can choose to output a different image to the VR headset and from the TV. This really opens up interesting opportunities for couch co-op or competitive gameplay. In this example, the guy in the middle of the sofa is the big green monster, the Godzilla-style thing, and he's viewing the world from a first-person perspective, so the furthest image on the right. His four friends all have DualShock 4 controllers, and they're looking at the TV, playing the same game as him, but they'll see something more like the image in the middle, where they can control each of the little white robots at the bottom. We have PlayStation VR on our booth, and we have a build of this with us. So if anybody's particularly interested in creating party games for VR, come and have a look, and we can show you the content. Another example of social innovation is our openness towards crossplay between PlayStation VR players on PS4 and Oculus or HTC players on PC, which we're doing in collaboration with CCP for their title LIVEAREA. It's an interesting solution which helps developers build online communities during the early stages of the VR industry. It's an opportunity that other VR developers creating online games can consider. I believe this proves that it shows that Sony is open to new ideas, so if you have other ideas, please feel free to come ask us. So how to get started? First, you need to become a licensed developer and publisher with PlayStation. You can reach our registration links either by noting down the URL on the slide or by Googling PlayStation partners. Our requirements are quite simple. We require you to be a corporate entity or a sole trader, have a static IP address, which is a security requirement for both our publisher and developer websites. We'll ask you to submit a brief content plan so we know what type of games you'd like to bring to the platform, and there's no registration fee. And in return, you'll get full global developer and publisher rights, access to business models, SDK, resources and submission guides, a Unity license, and our business, technical, and process support. If you're interested in PlayStation VR, please get in touch with me or one of our colleagues here this week, and we can talk to you about how to get early access to our prototype hardware. We do have dev kits available, and we're doing what we can to get the early prototypes into the hands of as many talented VR developers as possible. Unity support is available for PlayStation VR right now, and we have many games that are targeting launch using the engine. Once registered as a PlayStation developer, if you haven't decided to make a VR game yet, you can head over to our PlayStation VR developer portal on DevNet to research some more. If you have decided that you want to make VR content, you can still head over there, and if you've got a dev kit and we've supplied you with a PlayStation VR headset, you can look at some of our sample code. We also have our best practice documentation hosted on DevNet and within the SDK, which we highly recommend you check out. We're aware that there's no rulebook for VR yet, so consider this a consolidation of Sony's VR learnings, telling you more often about what didn't work for us, but hopefully saving you some time. One of the most enjoyable parts of the job is meeting with developers to talk about your games. And if you're looking for significant support from Sony, I wanted to share a few ideas to consider when prepping yourself to pitch to us. Think about how your game can make a PlayStation difference. Does it meet a strategic need in our portfolio? Think about trends or initiatives that we're pushing, or where we are in the platform lifecycle. Show how your game is unique and stands out from the crowd, or within a particular genre. If you want to make a PlayStation VR game, think about why your game is so special in VR, and show evidence of your VR design considerations. Be direct with us. Good relationships are built on openness and trust. Have a prototype or video ready. If you can get out a kit and show us a demo, or if you have a video on an iPad, that's great, especially if you have a VR project. Sometimes a special demo is all that's required. And finally, be passionate and be smart. Doing your research really pays off, but it's your hunger and ambition to make games that's really rewarding to work with you for. Thank you.